I don't know if she's still up there. Okay, no, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm gonna. Thank you. Yep.
All right, we are live here in New York City, Foley Square. As you can see from the sign, this is New York City Workers for Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
As soon as you tune in, please smash the like button.
Free Palestine! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! No more money for Israel's crimes! Not another nickel! Not another dime! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! No more money for Israel's crimes! Not another nickel! Not another dime! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! No more money for Israel's crimes! Not another nickel! Not another dime! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! No more money for Israel's crimes! Money for housing and education! Money for housing and education! Not for war and occupation! Not for war and occupation! Money for housing and education! Money for housing and education! Not for war and occupation! Not for war and occupation! Money for housing and education! Money for housing and education! Not for war and occupation! Not for war and occupation! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the sea to the river! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! Say Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! We don't want no occupation! We don't want no occupation! We demand liberation! We demand liberation! We don't want no occupation! We don't want no occupation! We demand liberation! We demand liberation! We say we demand liberation! We demand liberation! Thank you. And one more time, nice and loud. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the sea to the river.
From the sea to the river.
Palestine will live forever.
Palestine will live forever.
Palestine will live forever.
Palestine will live forever.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
End the siege on Gaza now.
End the siege on Gaza now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
End the occupation now.
End the occupation now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
End the occupation now.
End the occupation now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
End the siege on Gaza now.
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 Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
For their crimes they will atone.
For their crimes they will atone.
Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
For their crimes they will atone.
For their crimes they will atone.
Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
Gaza, Gaza, you're not alone.
For their crimes they will atone.
For their crimes they will atone.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Give it up. Make some noise. Good afternoon or evening, everyone. I got one more chant before we start. Eric Adams, you can't hide.
Eric Adams, you can't hide.
You're supporting genocide.
You're supporting genocide.
Eric Adams, you can't hide.
Eric Adams, you can't hide.
You're supporting genocide.
You're supporting genocide.
Give it up for yourselves. Thank you all for joining. We are a coalition called New York City Workers for Palestine. We're New York City employees of all faiths and backgrounds who stand, and across agencies, who stand firmly with the people of Gaza undergoing a genocide. We are in solidarity with the people of Palestine who have been under brutal occupation by Israel for 75 years. We refuse to stay silent while our mayor and administration show unrelenting support for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. We refuse to stay silent while he compromises the safety of all New Yorkers of conscience in support of the Palestinian struggle by aligning with the state of Israel. We are witnessing one of the most horrific moments in history as Israel carpet bombs an entire civilian population of over 2.5 million people. The mayor and his administration have exclusively shown an immediate and resounding affirmation of the humanity of Israelis and Israeli New Yorkers, but none for the Palestinian people, for thousands of Palestinian New Yorkers, and for the thousands of New Yorkers of conscience who condemn genocide. We gather today as city workers and as laborers to demand that this city hears our voice. Our first speaker is a city worker who will do an introductory call as civil servants for the city of New York. Is Michelle here? Oh, Brianna is right there.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this evening. We stand here today to speak not as civilians, but civil servants for the city of New York. We stand here today in solidarity with our Palestinian siblings nationwide and abroad. We stand here and mourn the thousands that were massacred and with the delusional claim of self-defense. It has been 2 months since Israel pursued on with the vicious war which has claimed over 20,000 Palestinians and including over 7,000 children. And yet the Western media, along with our electeds, chose to side with the occupying power and spread lies, propaganda, hate, and division. Oh, sorry. We people of conscience choose not to side with them and can no longer remain silent with these atrocities unfolding each day. While we are the ones who run the city's essentials, our tax dollars contribute towards fueling wars without our consent.
Shame!
While our communities continue to suffer with access to proper housing, healthcare, childcare, and other necessities, our tax dollars get invested in Israeli settler crimes and projects. Regardless of how the Zionists and the West have narrated and manipulated their histories, we remain consistent yet vigilant with our solidarity and activism. Regardless of how they have painted their narratives against indigenous, Black, brown, Arab, and Muslim struggles, we remain consistent yet vigilant. Regardless of those progressive, except for Palestine, we remain consistent yet vigilant with our solidarity and activism. We refuse to stay silent. We refuse to be vilified and characterized for standing up for Palestine. We refuse to stand by colonialism and genocide. And so we ask every person of conscience to join us to demand an end to this bloodshed and to this bloodshed with an immediate ceasefire, immediate permanent ceasefire. Thank you.
From the river to the sea,
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From HPD to education,
HPD to education,
we believe in liberation.
we believe in liberation.
From HPD to education,
HPD to education,
we believe in liberation.
we believe in liberation.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Our next speaker is Michela, provider of our city's social services. They will speak on the historic budget cuts and how these decisions are directly linked to Palestine.
All right. How y'all doing today? Free Palestine. Today we're out here to demand an end to Eric Adams' administration's violent complicity in the horrific genocide of an entire nation of people.
That's right.
Today, workers across all sectors of New York City speak out against that complicity, telling this administration, you don't speak for us. As we all stand in unity and in solidarity with the people of Palestine. As workers that help keep the city running, we provide some of the most vital and basic services to the city, to families, to children. But we're forced to do it with budgets that have been slashed and half the staff. In crumbling infrastructure and with a century-old outdated transit system, each year it has taken us longer to address children's needs, collect garbage, and answer emergencies. So this year, when the head of my agency blamed migrants for budget cuts, it was unforgivable. Because for too long, this administration has been pitting the workers of this city against poor and working class families. Because for too long, we've had elected officials who don't see essential services as a necessity, like education, sanitation, public assistance. What do our elected leaders see as priority? Mass as educational tours and humanitarian missions. Many local electeds are sent to Israel by special interest groups that are underreported to our conflict of interest board and then join pro-Israel voting solidarity networks to receive increased political support like Corey Johnson, Richie Torres, and Inez Dickens. In 2023, not only Eric Adams, Kathy Hochul, and Chuck Schumer, but 3 borough presidents, 2 DAs, and 12 city council members have been sent to Israel. But more importantly, this is a tradition that's continued for more than 3 decades. Kathy Hochul's trip cost $12,000 in New York State taxes, but that's nothing compared to a history of New York State governors investing over $250 million of New York State's pension in Israeli bond holdings since the 90s. After Schumer's trip, he requested a $100 billion military package be split between Ukraine and Israel. Is it any wonder that since October, every single city and state politician has issued the same hollow, copy-pasted statement calling for the release of Israel's hostages and refusing to even recognize the indescribable carnage or decades of erasure of Palestinian humanity? I'll wrap with this. In Palestine, even before they became under siege, conditions were abysmal. In Gaza, daily food and water were purposely restricted, breast cancer and mother-infant mortality rates were very high, and their movements were constantly restricted, denied by military checkpoints. In Black, brown, and poor communities here, we experienced food deserts, also battle lead poisoning and high asthma rates, and with the greatest number of millionaires and billionaires, high mother-infant mortality rates in the country. We also have an army of the most well-militarized and well-funded police force in this country, trained by IDF, who implement these tactics in our neighborhoods, turning them into occupied territories. So, as workers and people with a history of oppressed and colonization, we definitely have a reason to have international solidarity with Palestine. And the apartheid state of Israel is supported almost entirely by our U.S. tax dollars, with a large percentage of that coming from New York, right? So what goes to Israel goes towards training the military and weapons to oppress and kill Palestinians, and takes away from essential services from families and oppressing Black and Latino communities here. So just like Congress prioritizes military spending over our health care and every other need, New York politicians historically have a political interest in showing support for Israel over New York's essential needs, right? But until we as city workers and the working class organize and demand the U.S. divest from this white supremacist apartheid state, until we free ourselves from the occupation that is NYPD, until we uproot this entire corrupt and capitalist system that funds it all from the local to the federal level, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Thank you.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No
We'll be louder, don't worry. We're gonna be loud. Our next speaker is city worker Suman. She will be speaking on why, as city workers, we should care and calling out this mayor and his administration specifically for their support of Israel.
Thank you. Earlier this year, Mayor Eric Adams visited Israel to strengthen its relationship with New York City. After returning, he raved about their application of policing techniques, especially the use of Israeli drone technology, and he says he wants to see us embrace the use of surveillance drones in our city. Over Labor Day weekend, we saw shiny new drones used to surveil large gatherings in New York City, targeting black and brown neighborhoods and violating every New Yorker's sense of privacy and belonging. This same technology is used to patrol the Mexican border and carry out war crimes in occupied Palestine. While we are experiencing cuts to vital social services like composting, libraries, and schools, the NYPD has more than tripled its use of drones this past year and also used this technology to surveil pro-Palestinian protests. The NYPD also trains frequently with the Israeli military and has an office in Tel Aviv paid for by taxpayer dollars. The relationship between violent policing here and in Israel is stronger than ever. With over $10 billion in the NYPD budget this coming year and over $118 million just from New York City going to Israeli weapons, where is the prioritization of New Yorkers and the services we need? Yeah. As city workers, we demand our government fund vital city services and not genocide. I'm a public health worker for the city. The core of our work is intended to center and prioritize health, safety, and equity for every human. But our leaders have either stayed neutral or blatantly supported Israel. I want to ask how we can turn a blind eye when Palestinians in Gaza are being brutally killed every day in what human rights organizations around the world have described a genocide. How can we ignore Israel's violent occupation of Palestine for the past 75 years that threatens the health, safety, and lives of so many? The days of staying silent in the workplace, of limiting our advocacy to the hours convenient for us are over. We need to speak up and call attention to this genocide in every single space we have access to. If you feel unsafe or uncomfortable speaking up, remember that this is exactly what they want. We need to normalize talking about Palestine, talking about Gaza. It would make it safer for all of us. We don't owe ourselves comfort when people in Gaza are being slaughtered on our dime. We don't owe ourselves the ease of saying, there's nothing I can do. We owe the Palestinian people our unconditional support, and we owe them to use every privileged breath to fight for a fully liberated Palestine. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Eric Adams, you can't hide!
Eric Adams, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
We charge you with genocide!
Our next speaker is Theba, a teacher. Is Theba here? Hi. From New York City Educators for Palestine, who will speak about the role that New York City educators must play in supporting a free and liberated Palestine.
Sorry. I'm here today because I feel helpless as thousands of children are slaughtered, and my government that I help elect is providing the bombs and the political cover for the fascist Netanyahu government.
Into the mic! Into the mic!
I'm an educator. However, my views and beliefs are shaped by my experience as a survivor of war.
You got this. We love you.
Wars destroy lives. Not only do they destroy the tiny bodies like the ones we are seeing on social media today, but those that are lucky to survive are forever scarred by it. 35 plus years later, I remember everything vividly. War is never the answer, because children pay the heaviest price in wars. As an African American, I can say that from my own experience in Afghanistan, 20 years, trillions of dollars spent, thousands of lives lost, including the lives of our own soldiers, we managed to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. I'm heartened to see the daily call for ceasefire from everyday Americans and some unions, the emphasis on some. As the UAW president said, we cannot bomb our way to peace. Last night, UAE members joined with New York City educators to rally to ask our AFD president to call for a ceasefire. I consider myself a vote blue no matter who, Democrat, and a staunch union supporter and member. I am disappointed to see that values some speak of have an asterisk when it comes to Palestinians. We stand for human rights, except when it comes to the human rights of Palestinians. We stand for the right of women, except for Palestinian women who are burying their babies, watching them starve to death, or having C-sections without anesthesia. We stand for the right of children to get an education, except for Palestinian children. Nearly 1 million are being deprived of a basic education. We can't say we want gun control while sitting there silently as our government sends AK-47s to Ben Gvir, who is handing them out to settlers to shoot Palestinian children. We must be consistent with our values. Just like Israeli citizens, Palestinians also deserve to live in peace. Biden, what do you say?
Biden, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
How many kids did you kill today?
Biden, what do you say?
Biden, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
How many kids did you kill today?
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Our next speaker is city worker Reina, who will speak on how imperialism connects to our struggle as workers in the U.S. and to Palestinians.
Even though we live on the other side of the world, I really believe New York City workers have much more in common with the Palestinian people than we do with the politicians in our own city who have funded and supported the brutal occupation and genocide in Palestine. Every struggle that working class New Yorkers face, Palestinians also face under the Israeli occupation to the most extreme degree. For example, while millions of Palestinians have been displaced from their homes since the State of Israel was created, New York City politicians strip away rent regulations and funding for public housing and pander to developers year after year, causing a long-term housing crisis and displacement and gentrification in working-class neighborhoods. While 7,000 Palestinians are held in Israeli prisons, thousands without trial, and hundreds of them being children, 6,000 New Yorkers are in prison at Rikers Island. And a truly shocking figure I learned recently is that the Department of Corrections spends over $500,000 per incarcerated person per year. $500,000. And meanwhile, the federal government sends $3.8 billion in military aid to Israel each year. And then our governments have the gall to tell us they don't have money to fund our education, they don't have money to fund our sanitation, they don't have money to fund our parks. And we call bullshit. Because they always have money to fund death and destruction, whether at home or abroad, but they never have money to fund the services we need to survive. And we know the similarities between the Israeli Defense Forces and the NYPD are no coincidence. They train with each other and they employ the same racist, violent tactics they learn from each other, whether in Gaza or New York City, to protect the interests of the ruling class. Right? That's why we say NYPD, KKK, IDF, they're all the same.
NYPD, KKK, IDF, they're all the same.
And I know if you guys have been out in the streets for Palestine, you have seen how many cops they send out to surveil and repress our peaceful protests. Peaceful protests of peaceful people who just want to demand a respect for humanity and an end to genocide. Yeah. But you know what? This repression is actually a testament to our power. The Adams administration, they want to intimidate us because we have become their worst nightmare. Right? Because their worst nightmare is for New York City workers to realize that their liberation and their struggles are connected not only to other workers in New York City, not only to other workers in the United States, but to the people of Palestine and the peoples of the entire world. So our international solidarity and our unity is our greatest weapon. We have so much in common with the Palestinian people because we have the same enemy, and we have to call it out. It's the racist, imperialist, capitalist system. The people of Gaza have called on us to continue being in the streets for them because we, the workers living in the belly of the beast, are a crucial force to ending the siege in Gaza. More than 60% of Americans support a ceasefire, but only 11% of our elected officials do. And we know that... Shame. And we know that they will never, out of respect for humanity, do the right thing, just like they'll never fund our city services unless we fight for them. Because their only concern is for profit. But we know, we the workers who actually run this society, who actually run our city services, together we have the real power. And so we won't stop coming out and saying no votes for war criminals, demanding a ceasefire, and demanding an end to all support and funding of Israel until we have a free Palestine.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if Gaza doesn't get it,
Shut it down!
if Jenin don't get it,
Shut it down!
if Palestine don't get it,
Shut it down!
shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
Who's cold out here right now?
No.
We're all freezing, right? We owe Gaza what? Our endurance. What do we owe Gaza? What do we owe Palestine? Thank you. Next up is a New York City Parks worker who will be speaking on budget cuts to gardens and composting and climate catastrophe and how it all connects to Palestine.
Good evening, everyone. It is so heartening to see you all out here. I work for the Parks Department with community gardens. My division supports over 550 community gardens across the city. As my comrades have talked about, we've gathered here because of the horrific violence of the settler colonial project of Israel, which is ethnically cleansing the Palestinian people in order to seize land that Palestinians have stewarded for hundreds of generations. Land that Israel is causing irreparable damage to in their bombing campaign, which has killed 20,000 Palestinians since October. People and land have evolved together for hundreds of thousands of years. Settler colonialism severs that relationship.
Okay.
Bison have a 100,000-year history on this continent, and they were nearly wiped out in a settler colonial extermination campaign meant to starve indigenous populations. The olive trees in Palestine can grow thousands of years old. The Israeli occupation has burned or uprooted close to 1 million olive trees. Every settler colonial project uproots trees. Every settler colonial project produces ecological devastation and then will capitalize off of it. Colonizers brought grasses to Hawaii. that overwhelmed the ecosystem and caused the fires that devastated Lahaina in August. Developers rushed to buy cheap land in Hawaii after the fires. Developers swooped into Red Hook after Hurricane Sandy. Israel planted European trees and developed American-style suburbs on top of the depopulated villages, raised olive groves, and bombed soils of Palestine. We see the same shit again and again because that's how settler colonialism and capitalism work. From the IOF to all the police departments, including NYPD and Atlanta PD, to the finance capitalists of the world, they are all part of a global death machine. A machine that has no life of its own and can only extract and exploit and exterminate life to sustain itself. The community gardens I work with are critically important volunteer-run green spaces and part of our city's first line of defense against the devastating impacts of climate crisis. And the lands those gardens grow on are owned by various departments, including the NYPD. I was told that I can't even do a land acknowledgement without checking in with our legal department in case I accidentally cede the rights to the land. As city workers, we execute the state's will, and we reproduce the settler colony with our labor. Now we're talking. At the same time, we are citizens of global struggle. We are in a position where we can make a choice collectively. This rally is just one step in a long struggle ahead. Yes. We have to imagine beyond the bureaucracies of our unions, beyond the segregation of our workplaces, and beyond the Taylor Law. Fuck the Taylor Law. Are we going to feed our life energy to the death machine of settler colonialism and capitalism? Or are we going to fight for collective liberation? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free!
Up with liberation!
Up with liberation!
Down with occupation!
Down with occupation!
Up with liberation!
Up with liberation!
Down with occupation!
Down with occupation!
Next up is Tati from CUNY for Palestine.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
My name is Tatiana. I'm a member of CUNY for Palestine, and I'm also a member of my union at CUNY, the Professional Staff Congress. I'm a member of Left Voice, and I'm an adjunct professor at Brooklyn College and Hunter College. And I'm really glad to see public sector workers standing for a free Palestine. It is essential that we, the working class of New York City, the global working class, stand up for an immediate end to the brutal siege in Gaza and its apocalyptic genocidal violence that has murdered over 20,000 people since October. The Zionist settler colonial project of Israel is a foothold for U.S.-led imperialism in the region. It is the face of this apartheid state, and it is essential for us to stand up alongside Palestinian labor unions, alongside the Palestinian resistance for a free Palestine. And we need to unite all workers and all oppressed people in this goal. CUNY for Palestine tries to do this on a small scale. We unite academic workers and students together in our struggle for Palestine. Our students have been on the front lines of this struggle, organizing rallies and walkouts and teach-ins. Our students, many who have families in Palestine, represent the immigrant working class of New York City, and they need us to stand with them. Most of our students come from communities that have directly experienced imperialism and bear the brunt of racist, xenophobic, capitalist structures in New York City, from the underfunding of CUNY to the over-policing of black and brown communities. And when we stand with our students, we stand not just in solidarity, but we stand side by side as comrades. And academic workers at CUNY have also been fighting for Palestine. We've been attending actions by students, and yesterday adjuncts and grad students with CUNY for Palestine disrupted the Graduate Center Council meeting, and today, in 15 minutes, our union is voting on a ceasefire resolution, which, if it passes, will make CUNY the only New York City public sector union to vote for a ceasefire. And hopefully this can open the floodgates for everybody else, for every single one of our unions to stand with Palestine. Because every single one of our unions must speak out against the billions spent on the violent apartheid state of Israel, the billions spent by Kathy Hochul to surveil us, to talk about the billions spent on the bloated NYPD budget, with an NYPD that's trained by the IDF to repress black and brown people and the working class of New York City and the world. And in the meantime, adjuncts like me, we don't make a living wage, and we struggle to make ends meet. And as my union votes on whether or not to call a ceasefire, almost 3 months into a genocide, we're also in the midst of contract negotiations. We've been 9 months without a contract. And we must clearly state that the struggle for a fully funded CUNY, the struggle for a free CUNY, the struggle for a CUNY with job security for adjuncts is also one and the same struggle as the struggle for a free Palestine and for workers around the world. And so we demand from our unions, we say that a ceasefire resolution is the floor, not the ceiling of our demands. We demand a permanent end to Israel's brutal bombings in Gaza and continued violence and brutality in the West Bank. We demand not a single cent for the apartheid state of Israel. And we demand an end to the settler colonial Zionist regime. We demand that our unions and our institutions divest and boycott the state of Israel. And we demand that our unions organize to defend members and non-members, academic workers and students against repression and retaliation. Because we've seen unprecedented repression on our campuses. Students and academic workers are being targeted by Zionists and by administrators. Events have been canceled at Hunter, at CUNY Law, at Brooklyn College. Students are being doxxed, and there's a doxing truck that features students and workers. At Brooklyn College, a city councilwoman came to campus in a Vernikov. She came to campus with a gun. And the president of Brooklyn College has not denounced it. Democrats and Republicans alike are equating anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, which is a cynical bullshit lie. And they're spending millions to continue to surveil us. And that's why CUNY for Palestine is working with other groups to build a solidarity network around a pledge saying that we stand up for each other. If they touch one of us, we all rise up. And that's why from this action, we have to send solidarity to the Rutgers SJP that was banned yesterday. And we have to stand in solidarity with Columbia SJP and JVP that have also been suspended. And lastly, I want to say, as CUNY workers, we've been working without a contract for 9 months. While inflation goes up, our wages don't go up. And so instead of funding CUNY, Kathy Hochul, Eric Adams, they want to harass students and academic workers. They want to spy on us. They want to police us. But we're not going to stand for that. It's time that public sector workers stand up together and say, we need an end to the Taylor Law. We need the right to strike. And we want to strike not just for a contract, not just for a free CUNY, but we want to strike for a free Palestine. So as public sector workers, together, we demand and we say, free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
The people united will never be defeated. 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 The people united will never be defeated.
Our last speaker is a representative from Healthcare Workers for Palestine.
Long live the Intifada! Hi everyone, my name is Musab. Hi everyone, my name is Musab. I am a primary care physician in the South Bronx. And I'm here with comrades from Healthcare Workers with Front for Palestine. So shout out to you guys too for coming here. I am so angry. I'm so angry that as a healthcare worker, I feel incredibly powerless that no amount of medicine, no amount of vaccines, no amount of biotechnology. I am just so angry that as a healthcare worker, I feel powerless that we're told that medicine is supposed to heal people. But the best medicine out there is policy. And we have really bad policy in New York City and in the United States. The way that we fund Israeli healthcare system, but can't fund healthcare in the United States, can't fund healthcare in New York City, that politicians like Eric Adams will take money away from social services and feed them into cops so that we are police, makes me so angry. And I am so angry at people in the healthcare field who think that their professions are not related to society or societal policies, that they only want to focus on the latest research, on climbing academic ladders, or trying to just divorce medicine from politics. And that makes me very angry. As a healthcare worker, especially in the South Bronx, I see how bad policy contributes tremendously to things like chronic disease. And I'm mad that Richie Torres, Eric Adams, other politicians will stand and defend Israel when they see that communities here are suffering. And that makes me incredibly, incredibly pissed off. And we need to end aid to Israel today. We need to support the right of return for Palestinians today. And the Democrats need to know that we are all coming for them. Biden recently told Netanyahu that the world he's losing world support. Fuck you. Fuck you, Biden, for trying to now distance yourself from this massacre that your administration enabled. Because election season is starting in 3 weeks. Fuck you and your party. You guys are getting the fuck out of there, and we need other political, people-based solutions to our fucking country, because we are fucking destroying this planet, and we're fucking contributing to the genocide of Palestinians and to the exploitation of the global south, and I am fucking sick and tired of it. As a healthcare worker, as a person, as a Muslim, as a queer person, as a fucking New Yorker, I am fucking sick of it.
One more speaker, a representative from No Tech for Apartheid.
That's right. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Medium. I use she, her pronouns. Hi everyone. My name is Medium. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a graduate student at CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. And I'm also a tech worker. I come from the Undocuqueer Youth Organizing Movement, and my organizing is rooted in learning from domestic workers who have been resisting and ensuring that they have a dignified workplace throughout centuries. Now I'm working in tech, and to be honest, I never really thought about how tech is impacting labor and really the whole world around us. Yet the more you dig, the more you realize that it's so ingrained in every single one of us. We probably all have a phone right now. We're using cameras, all of that. And it just makes sense that the labor movement should really take notice on that and see how we can get stronger in it. We know that technology is not going anywhere. And this technology is also deeply, deeply rooted in the toolbox of our oppressors through mass surveillance, surveillance at the border, surveillance in Palestine, AI surveillance, all of that, tracking is here. I'm here as part of No Tech for Apartheid because Google, my employer, has decided that the ethical principles that they relate to the press do not apply to their business practices. In 2018, more than 3,100 Googlers signed a letter opposing the company dealing in the business of war, as they called it, with Project Maven. It would have been a government project that contracted the United States Pentagon and would use Google AI technology for U.S. war drones. Yep. And then in 2009, Google fired 4 employees for organizing around Google dropping its ties with immigration. And they were retaliated and they were gone, right? The following year, they fired Timmy Gebru, a leader in the ethical artificial intelligence, because she was bringing up the ethical concerns around AI. And instead of really listening to her, they retaliated and fired her, pushed her out. So there is this history of retaliation, but that does not stop us. We will keep speaking up against Google leadership that decides to arm the nations of the world with the tools for surveillance, control, and violence. And that is more important to them than their workers, their values, their users, as you and right now, Palestinian lives. They have chosen apartheid over justice and money over morality. They announced to the world that they're signing Project Nimbus, a $2.2 billion contract with the Israeli government and military. And this was the same week that Israeli military was evicting Palestinians from Sheikh Jarrah and violently attacking Palestinians in Al-Aqsa. That was that same week. There is documents published by The Intercept where Google provides concrete evidence that the contract will offer AI technology and could easily be used to facilitate and boost that invasive surveillance of Palestinians that we're seeing through facial recognition, amongst other dangers. And we know that that's not just in Palestine. It's in Cop City too, right? It's here in the streets of New York City. It's everywhere. By design, there's no oversight in this technology, how it's used, no limitation on how powerful that infrastructure can be. And Google claims that this Google Cloud technology is neutral, but technology is powerful. And giving that power to an organization that kills without consequences is not at all a neutral act. Given the history of apartheid and violence enacted by Israel, it is irresponsible and the perfect time for Google to remember to not be evil and drop Nimbus now. We cannot be doing business with the military that murders civilians indiscriminately, that goes into hospitals and kills patients there, that kill anyone. Everyone deserves to live and deserves a dignified life. We stand with our labor siblings, we stand with our Palestinian siblings, and we stand against tech for apartheid. Thank you.
Israel bombs! USA pays! How many kids did you kill today? Israel bombs! USA pays! How many kids did you kill today? Israel bombs! USA pays! How many kids did you kill today? Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes!
All of these speakers today for your incredible, powerful words. Before we conclude our speak out for today, we as city workers have 6 demands for the mayor and his administration. These demands are the bare minimum, and they are as follows. 1, the mayor must add his voice to a call for an immediate, permanent ceasefire. 2, Speaker Adrian Adams must immediately bring a ceasefire resolution to a vote in the City Council, and council members must vote in affirmation. Following in the footsteps of cities like Oakland and Detroit. Commissioners of every city agency must act to protect the rights of New York City employees and all New Yorkers of conscience who, in every industry, who voice their opposition to the war crimes committed by Israel. We call for the resignation of Council Member Ina Vernikov, who unlawfully brandished a firearm to intimidate peaceful protesters at CUNY Brooklyn College, contributing to a growing atmosphere of violence and hate crimes against Palestinians, Muslims, Sikhs, Arabs, and anyone supporting Palestinian liberation. The administration must disclose and terminate all ties between the NYPD and the IDF, including funding, material support, training programs, offices, contractors, advisors, and all other relationships. We refuse to continue to allow for the growing militarization of our city in ways that directly parallel the fascist military state of Israel, including increased use of drone surveillance and murderous policing tactics that put all New Yorkers, especially black and brown people, at the risk of dying at the hands of the police. Enough. The administration must disclose and terminate all city funds invested in the state of Israel. We refuse to allow our tax dollars to fund the genocide and the 75-year-old long occupation. This is even more egregious while New York City, the largest city in the country, crumbles under the mayor's cruel and unnecessary budget cuts. We demand a fully funded New York City, not genocide. Those are our demands. The bare minimum. It is a shameful, painful irony to tout New York City as one of the most welcoming cities in the world and in history, a rich microcosm that is meant to represent the entire globe, yet the administration platforms, supports, and celebrates this genocidal, imperial, racist force that is the state of Israel in every way possible. We are the people that keep the city running, delivering for all New Yorkers. We demand that our mayor and his administration see the value in all life, regardless of ethnicity, race, religion, creed, and not conditionalize humanity. Palestinians are not just numbers. They are the souls of souls. Long live Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever. Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry. We will never let you die. Free, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Follow our Instagram, New York City Workers for Palestine, and sign our open letter to the mayor that has nearly 600 signatures. And keep this resistance alive till the very end. Thank you all for being here. Free Palestine.
Eric Adams, you can't hide! Eric Adams, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide! Adrian Adams, you can't hide! Adrian Adams, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide! Kathy Hochul, you can't hide! Kathy Hochul, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide! Hey! Hi ho! Hey! The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Justice is our demand. Justice is our demand. No peace on stolen land. No peace on stolen land. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If Gaza doesn't get it, shut it down. If Palestine don't get it, shut it down. 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 The occupation has got to go. The occupation has got to go. The occupation has got to go.
All right, guys, so stick around. I'm going to see if I could do 1 or 2 interviews before it clears out here. Hey, did you want to do an interview? No? Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, Marshall. Very powerful. Fuck Eric Adams! Fuck Eric Adams! All of them in. Okay. You got all the community guys. I love going to the whatsoever in LES. Because for a service, we're crossing there. I'm like, I got to get the goddamn code. Yeah. They always change it. There's one in, there's a tree I
think you might want to be somewhere a little bit here where the car is not.
Let's see, it's okay.
Yeah. And I was like, we gotta do this. Occupation no more! Occupation no more!
You don't mind the light, right? It's going to be bright.
It's okay.
Okay. Sorry.
I just had new force for orientation today.
All right, so tell me why it was important for New York City workers to get together and speak out against this genocide.
It was important to us to come out and speak because our boss, Eric Adams, has been completely one-sided on this issue and extremely dehumanizing to the Palestinian community, right? He's shown up at several events to support the Israeli and the Jewish community and has voiced several times, his recognition of the humanity of the Jewish and Israeli people, but has honestly just been entirely complicit in the genocide that's been going on in Palestine. Anytime the issue of deaths of Palestinians and death of Palestinian children is brought up, he says that's what happens when there is a war. But we say, what kind of war is it when you have one side that has, fighter jets and bombs that are sent straight from the U.S., bombing what's basically an open-air prison surrounded on all sides, air, water, and sea, where the people on the other side don't even have a real military. You're bombing entirely civilians. It's not a war, it's a genocide. And so we wanted to break through the silence that we've been facing in a lot of our workplaces. We've been, even getting emails from our workplaces, stating that, the Palestinian resistance is a terrorist attack, and people, who support the Palestinian people are terrorists. We wanted to break through this kind of censorship that's going on at work. And we also really wanted to connect the issue of budget cuts to the funding of Israel, because I think it's directly related, right? I mean, not to defer any blame from Eric Adams, but he keeps saying, the reason, obviously other than blaming the migrants, the other reason he says the budget cuts are so severe is that federal funding has stopped from the COVID aid that we've been getting over the past years. And it's true that New York City has lost a lot of federal funding over the decades. And that federal money is directly going to support war abroad. And so, we do need federal aid, and we need it for to keep our libraries open, to keep our schools funded, to keep childcare free. We need it for all these things, but instead they're sending $3.8 billion to Israel every year.
And why do you think they continue their support for Israel, despite how many innocent Palestinians have been killed?
Because all of the politicians in our country are united, because actually the U.S. needs Israel to do its bidding in the Middle East, because the U.S. wants to maintain economic control over the region. And all of the ruling class, all of the politicians, whether local or federal, are complicit in this. And also the Democratic politicians, they receive a huge amount of money from the Israeli lobby. Actually, the majority of political donations from the Israeli lobby go to Democratic politicians. So, the money is in their pockets. That's why.
Now, one last question. Do you think the tide is turning where people who have previously supported Israel are now supporting Palestine?
100%. There's been a gigantic shift in public opinion over the past 2 months, right? I think at the very beginning of October, even like in Times Square, I was seeing like the Star of David on every single billboard, and like people were afraid to speak out. The fear of doxing was very high, and the protests were small. But now, 60% of Americans are calling for a ceasefire. It's really, and like the U.S. is isolated. We just saw with the UN General Assembly vote, the U.S. was humiliated, right? In the U.S., 10 out of like 10 was only one of 10 countries who did not support a ceasefire against 153 countries that did. So I think that the mask of the U.S. empire is really off in their entire disregard for human life and just their drive for war and profit. And I think the American people are seeing that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so there you have it. New York City workers speaking out. So I'm gonna wrap up now. Might have something going on this weekend. We will let you know. But if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. You'll get notifications for when we schedule live shows, when we post videos. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, subscribe to this channel. If you want to become a member, go to statuscoup.com/join. Sign up as a member for $5 to $10 a month. And that's all. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a good night. And you'll probably see me again on this weekend. All right. Take care.